Welcome to another Total War Tactics for Warhammer. This one's going to be on the CAV Spear Trap. Now, before we can go ahead and attempt that, we have to understand another basic tactic in army deployment. So for a common army formation, you'll have your main army in the middle, and then on the flanks you'll have a bunch of cavalry units that you'll send out to engage the enemy's flanks. But what you can do is send a unit of spears with your cavalry to support them. This can just give you the edge when dealing with the enemy's cavalry, especially if the enemy's cavalry is stronger than yours and you feel you might lose the CAV engagement. But be sure to keep some spears with your main army as well, just in case you lose the CAV engagements. And now that you hopefully understand the simple tactic of supporting your cavalry, we can look to the CAV Spear Trap. So here I have my unit of spears stood still, very important. Here's my cavalry and here is the enemy's cavalry. They're charging towards me and I'm going to make it look like I'm charging towards them. It's going to seem like we're going to meet here and we're going to engage there. But what I'm actually going to do is charge up and come back round and run through my spearmen. Through. And then the enemy will follow and run into my spearmen. And then, while the enemy is engaging my spearmen, I'm going to circle right round and go and hit them in the back with a rear charge. This will sandwich the unit in the middle and make it very difficult for them to escape. So here we have my CAV unit moving up and my spearman unit about to get into position. Now it's very important that your spear unit have this charge defense against large foes trait. If they don't, they're going to take damage from the enemy charge and probably get destroyed. A few other units have this, like the Dwarven Longbeards, and the Goblin Spearmen don't have it, so they're worth noting. Now my cavalry has just got the enemy to commit to their charge and I'm going to run back through my spears. This shouldn't affect their charge defense. We're going to make it through just in time, give a few extra orders just to make sure they do it, and then start to circle round. And those Reichsguard are engaged with my spearmen now. My spearmen are okay, they didn't take too much damage. The charge defense trait kept them safe. You have to be stood still for the charge defense trait to work, by the way. So don't forget that. I've circled round now, I'm going to get my rear charge in. These Reichsguard are going to lose health pretty quickly. And this works especially well with the Beastmen Centaurs because they're so fast, but it can still work with all the other cavalries that are a bit slower. So with the enemy unit sandwiched in the middle, they're taking a hell of a lot of damage from my spears because of the bonus versus large. They're also taking a lot of damage from my Centaurs because my Centaurs have armor piercing and the Reichsguard have a lot of armor. And you can also experiment with the depth of your unit. If you make them really wide and really thin, you do run the risk that maybe the cavalry will be able to charge through them. If you make them really deep, then you may not be able to get so many spearmen attacking and it might be easier for the enemy to escape. But with the Reichsguard heavily under attack, they are routing rather quickly. And while we have taken some damage, both of my units still have enough in them to be useful. And we've taken care of one of the enemy's toughest units. You could also try cycle charging into the cavalry just to keep hitting them with charge bonuses, and you can really wear them down. And this isn't an easy maneuver to pull off, so it isn't always going to go to plan. Sometimes the enemy cav may run away before you get time to flank. But usually when they're running away, if you're fast enough, you can hit them with a rear charge. And if you can't get your cavalry there at all, even just getting the enemy to charge into your spears is a win, because spears do well against cavalry. And if you can't get the enemy to take the bait, sometimes just trading charges is called for, and then moving your spearmen up to support, or even flank round for a similar effect. But you are going to have taken the Reichsguard's massive charge bonus, so not ideal to do things this way. So that is the CAV Spear Trap, and it will work against even the strongest of cavalries. It's worth noting though that the Greenskins can't really do this so well. They don't have any infantry that has a charge defense, but their cavalry does have a bonus versus large, so you can play around with that for a similar tactic. Now for a couple of live examples of this. So here I am with my Beastmen army against the Chaos. I'm just setting up this tactic on the right here. I'm able to use some of the terrain to my advantage. I've got my spearmen, they're going to be there. I've also got some cavalry that are going to flank round, so they can do the flanking instead of the baiting unit. So just turn them around, they're going to run back through the spearmen. This little hill is going to slow the enemy cavalry down because they're not a fast cavalry, the Chaos Knights. They're going to hit the spearmen. So we've got success on the first part of the plan. My other Centaur units flanking around the back, you can see. I'm going to bring this one back in because they might as well do something, as they can't really flank around themselves. And then on the left I tried a similar thing, but it hasn't quite come off the same. And some enemy halberds are about to arrive. But on this side, we're getting the charge in and we're doing some damage. Half the unit missed there, but you get the idea. We've got a tough cavalry tied up and flanked. This same thing can work even if your spearmen are part of your front line and not out wide in the open. So here we have some Chaos Knights about to engage Empire Knights. Definitely a battle they're going to lose. So I'm going to pull them back through the halberds. I've got some Skirmisher Cav, going to do the same thing with them. And the Empire Knights have been caught a little bit, but if we keep giving the order, most of them should get through okay. Skirmisher Cav on this side about to go through, and I'm going to use a different unit to flank with. I'm going to start flanking with this lot of Empire Knights, and then I've got this separate unit of Empire Knights here, which are going to do the flanking, because obviously Skirmisher Cav aren't great for flanking and charges, although they are good at baiting the enemy in because they're so fast. So I've got this tactic to work on both sides. My Skirmisher Cav have got caught up by the enemy, but to be honest, this is just a demo battle, so I wasn't really caring that they were getting destroyed, so I left them to it. But you can see the tactic can work. And you can see that I haven't really done anything else with the rest of my army because this is a demo, but I would have had time to. This tactic does take quite a lot of micromanaging time, but you still can be left with time to deal with the rest of your army. But timing really is everything with this tactic, down to pulling your cavalry back through your spears quick enough, to flanking round quick enough, to having time to pull it off when they engage with your army quick enough. So that, my friends, is the Cav spear trap. This tactic is a high risk, high reward maneuver, so don't be surprised if it fails half the time. It can work against both human and AI players. Against human players, if you can get the enemy to commit to clicking an attack order on your cavalry, they'll then follow you until they're given another order. And very often people will issue an attack order and then go away and look at some other part of their army, and they won't look what their cavalry is doing, and this is your opportunity to try and pull this tactic off. So add this move to your tactic book and it may serve you well one day. With that, I thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.